You're listening to Rudy Radio, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. I'm Terra Renee from the African American Women in Cinema Organization, and this is Talk with Terra, a show that highlights fantastic filmmakers, artists, and entertainers and executives from all walks of life. We're committed to introducing you to individuals, organizations, and projects of which you're not necessarily aware. And we do this with the intention of uplifting, empowering, and enlightening you. If you can, please share this episode on all your social media. We also love it if you text your friends and ask them to tune in. Feel free to ask questions, make comments, and or share your thoughts at any point during the show. We promise to respond. Today, I have a wonderful guest, beautiful, talented actress and filmmaker. Her name is Deidra Mcdowell. Deirdre, please tell our audience hello.
Hi, everybody. It's so exciting to be here. Hi, Terra.
How are you? And I tell you, I am so enthused that you're here. Your spirit, your energy is just amazing. And I know I know it's going to come through. Our audience will feel it. I have a couple of questions for you, and certainly as we go along, the audience will hear some very unique things as it relates to being an actress, being a producer, especially as a woman of color, and in these unprecedented times. So, what drew you into acting and producing?
Well, I have always had that inside of me since I was a little girl. I think that's the most important thing to remember. Like, we come into this world with something inside of us. And it's just, as children, we can really, really tune in and know that it's there. And I've always known that it's there now. Even having that, then there's the environment around you to either enhance that or to take it away. You know what I mean? So I definitely had this thing inside of me where I felt like that was the world I belonged in. Wow. And I used to just admire so many television shows and artists and things when I was growing up. I used to literally, when I was a kid and we would have like family gatherings, I would get all my cousins together and get them in a bedroom. We would rehearse and produce a whole show for the adults.
Wow.
Terra, where that came from, I don't know. It was just that I knew I loved it so much. I knew I had to do it. Wow. So I was always drawn. To it. And, thankfully, it came to be later where I could actually follow this course in my life.
Yeah, I want to just share with the audience. I'm going to get a little ahead of myself here because Deirdre is participating. She participated in our program called the African American Women in Cinema Online Media Series. Powerful film short on the life and insight of the legendary Eartha Kitt. And I certainly want to just take a little pause and talk about that a little bit, because I have to confess something to you, Deirdre. Yeah. I did not know that was you. I didn't know that was you.
Yes, that is the goal. Terra, let me tell you, that was the most challenging part of it. Is like my whole thing is I just wanted to be able to really tell that part of her story and really to, channel and bring her back. Bring her to life. And the most challenging part of that was, I was wearing so many hats.
Yep.
The writing, the producing, really getting everything together. And then I have to commit 200% to her character. So, it was really, it was a really challenging thing. But to hear you say that you did not know, it means that it was,
You aced the Academy Award, NAACP Award. You aced that. I said, wow, I was so impressed. I'm telling you. And, I see a lot. So when I see talent, I really, it was, you were powerful. So I want to admonish everyone to see that. But let me just say this. There were parts of that story because, I remember Eartha Kitt. She was Catwoman in Batman.
Yes.
Would see her in other. There you go.
Yes.
And, and I would see her in other places. But there was this part that I just kept sensing from her even as a little child. It was like a hardness, and it was not until I saw your film that I believe I saw the root of where that came from.
Yes.
And then, so was the young part that brought that to light. And then later in the story, you shed light on some of her relationships, one of which was the famous actor, James Dean, I believe.
Yes.
So could you please talk about both of those pieces that I just brought up?
Yes. Well, as far as her childhood and early beginning, and it's one of the things that really drew me to telling her story, because I found it to be very inspirational to show that no matter what course your life takes and how you were brought up, you can really achieve anything that you set your heart to. And so Eartha was a severely abused child. I mean, in the writing and in the story, I tried to depict it as much as I could without being grotesque and without putting the child actor in any kind of traumatic environment. So, but basically what happened was her mother, they were very poor and homeless and looking for shelter. Her mother used to go door to door selling her services as a housekeeper for a place to stay, for them to stay. And it was a tough life for them. So her mother eventually met a man who said, I can take you away from this life and I'll marry you, but you have to leave that child because I don't want a yellow gal in my house. And Eartha Kitt, her father was a plantation owner's son, so he was a white man. Her mother was African American and Cherokee Indian. So she was the lightest person, among them. And her mother chose to leave her with the last home that they were at and say, look, take care of her. She's a hard worker. She can do whatever, you need her to. Just take care of her. And she was just about 5 years old.
Oh my Lord. Wow.
And so she left her daughter, Eartha, with this family. And again, she's the lightest one in the house because it's a black, I failed to say it's a black family. And they abused her. They taunted her about her complexion. They sexually abused her. Both it was two teenagers, a male, daughter and a son, and starved her.
Oh my Lord.
I mean, it's how she survived. Literally, an aunt in New York heard about what she was going through and sent for her literally to rescue her.
Oh my gosh. I want to hear more. The audience have to hear more, but we have to go on a break. Audience, we'll be right back with the most powerful Deidra Mcdowell, incredible filmmaker and actress. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Harry Confetti, international Formula One driver. I sped to get to Long Island Telecom before they closed. I need to get one of these fantastic deals that Long Island Telecom has, because you can't beat the price anywhere else. Oh, get away from that car! What are you doing? Freaking kids playing with the car out there. Anyway, I'm glad I got here. Wait, what do you mean you're closing? I gotta come back tomorrow? What's your number? 631-833-9679? Oh, stop writing me a ticket.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Terra Renee with Talk with Terra. And I am Terra Renee from African American Women in Cinema. And I'm talking with the lovely Deidra Mcdowell, wonderful actress and filmmaker. And she did a groundbreaking independent film that is about one of America's iconic legend, Miss Eartha Kitt. And we were talking about, just before we went to break, we were talking about the beginnings of this icon and what she suffered. Deirdre, would you like to just continue where you left off?
Yes, thank you so much, Terra. So yeah, we were talking about how she was abused really badly in this home that her mother left her in. And she had an aunt who lived in New York City, and the aunt, I think through members of the church, found out that, you know, her niece was being abused and could actually die if somebody didn't come to her rescue. So she sent for her, and that's how Eartha Kitt ended up moving to New York City. Oh. And you know, from there, you know, her aunt did encourage her to study the arts in, like, I think she made her take piano lessons and things like that. So it encouraged her artistic abilities. And then just a few years later, when she was a teenager, she had the opportunity to audition for the Catherine Dunham School.
Wow.
And won a scholarship there. And that's what catapulted her into this new life.
Yes, because I remember seeing photos of her as a dancer. So all of that make complete sense. Wow, yeah. That's amazing.
That's where that came from.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And then, so the other question was her relationship with James Dean. Yeah. And there was such a, you know, I read Eartha wrote 3 autobiographies and 1 memoir. And in reading them, she was really clear about the fact that her relationship with James Dean was not a romantic one, but a spiritual one. Mm-hmm. It was very spiritual, that, you know, they were instantly drawn to each other. They would, the way that they would communicate, she said it was almost like they could complete each other's sentences. Wow. It was just that kind of thing. And they grew to be very close. And of course, so his death was very tragic for her, for everyone, but for her in particular, because of their relationship.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So I have some other questions. I want to certainly talk to you about the process of the filmmaking aspect part of it. But before I do, I understand that you did a show, was a one-woman show about Eartha, and there were some other aspects that you highlighted in her life. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Oh, yes, gladly. Something that a lot of her fans may or may not know is that, you know, for a while, especially right after she appeared as Catwoman, she disappeared from the limelight for about 10 years. And that's because she was literally blacklisted for speaking out against the Vietnam War. And so I felt that it was really important to tell this part of her story. And it's almost like I didn't do this on purpose, but it's almost like continuing her life story in like little capsules. And so in this next segment of her life, it talks about how that affected her emotionally, what it took for her to be so courageous and stand up and at the White House with this very important point of view, which was that the reason that there was so much juvenile delinquency at this time in America was because that the kids were rebelling because they didn't want to be drafted to fight this war that they felt was meaningless. Mm-hmm. And so they would rather be seen as unfit to be drafted, mm-hmm. and they would rather spend the time in jail and delinquent. That's how important it was for them to not fight and be casualties of this war. Mm-hmm. And she spent so much time with the mothers of these men, these young men, and really got to the heart of of the meaning of what was going on. And her, as a mother herself, really identified with them. And so she used this wonderful opportunity that she had to be invited to the White House. And the whole purpose for this discussion, this luncheon, was to discuss this, right? Mm-hmm. But when she got there, they didn't want to talk about these things. It was more important for it was like 50 women. And all they wanted to talk about was, sugarcoating everything, dancing around the subject. And she stood up and said, listen, this is what is at hand right now. What are we going to do about this? This is urgent. And, the passion with which she spoke. And I think, at one point, saying to Lady Bird Johnson, how would you feel? You're a mother. How would you feel if your children were sent off to war and, could possibly be killed? How would you feel? And apparently this brought her to tears. President Johnson didn't like that and said, who is this woman? That's it was really sad, that it happened that way, and because of that reason. So anyway, not to be too long-winded, but that's what the show is about. It's a one-woman show, meaning I'm up there by myself the entire time. I have a great time with the audience and the storytelling. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I mix elements of the actual story with music and humorous moments and things like that, and also a mixed media where you can actually see some live footage of the luncheon. So it kind of really brings you into the world of what was happening at that time in 1968.
Wow, that's amazing. I look forward to seeing that. That's very good, and congratulations on doing that.
Oh, thank you so much.
I want to kind of shift and go to because I was talking with some young women, and I was expressing to them, when years ago when I was looking in the industry, I would read articles. They were not true, of actresses saying, "Oh, I submitted my headshot to this casting director, and the next day I got this lead role in this Warner Brothers motion picture."
The dream. Oh, funny.
and what ended up, and some of them, unfortunately, the reason why they were talking to me, because they became disheartened when they start really pursuing, because it was on a false hope that they had cultivated by reading materials like this. And so I wanted to shed a reality light on them and say, listen, some overnight success is after 20 years of being in the process. So could you talk a little bit about, the process and what the process have been for you and how you stayed the course irregardless?
That's a wonderful question, Terra. Well, again, I want to just get back to the fact that I always had this feeling inside of me that this was something that I wanted to do, and that this was the world that I wanted to be in. It wasn't the popular thing, as a kid. Teachers, especially in my elementary school, would try to steer me away from it because they said, oh, even just the idea that I wanted to do that with my life, they were saying, but you're good at math, why would you want to do that? And literally feeding this into me. So there was a time when I was discouraged already. It just killed it. It was killing the dream. And so I would look and admire actors, and when the Cosby Show came out, I was just like, it gave me hope. Like, oh my gosh, I could do that. I could be in that show. So I took a different course. I actually ended up working because I always was very artistic no matter what, and I wasn't going to be an accountant no matter what they said. So I took the route of studying fashion, and I ended up in the fashion industry and designing for a good portion of my life. So it wasn't until I was asked to audition for a commercial that I had a taste of the life. And remembered it all, viscerally remembered that, wait a minute, no, this is what I have to do. And thus began my journey.
Wow. On that note, we have to take a few minutes, play some commercials, but don't go away, because Talk with Terra will be right back. You're listening to Rudy Radio, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. Please don't forget to share this episode on social media with as many people as possible.
I am Madame Francois, and I'm introducing my new luxury skincare brand that's available to you at an attainable price. Discover my beauty secrets, luxurious, effective ingredients with proven results and a price tag that doesn't break the bank. Come indulge with me at lesmadamefrancois.com.
On behalf of the African American Women in Cinema Organization, I'm Terra Renee, and welcome back to Talk with Terra. You're listening to us on Rudy Radio. You can find more shows like this by visiting rudyradio.com. You can also download the free Rude Rangers app on Google Play and the App Store. My guest today is the fabulous Deidra Mcdowell, and I'm so excited to be having this conversation. Miss Deirdre, please, you were talking to us about the process, and you started letting us know, giving us insight on your journey. And I wanted to actually talk a little bit about what happens when you face a moment or a situation that can seem overwhelmingly discouraging. How do you bounce back from that?
Well, what a great question. It's belief in yourself. It's just that you always have to listen to that voice inside of you, know what's in your heart. And that's going to be the driving force. That's going to be the thing that gets you through. And as difficult as that may seem, because when the thing about it is with discouraging times, it's like, it's almost, reinforcing that kind of negative shadow that is already there, it's already there. And then it's kind of reinforces whatever the case may be, whatever it is that's happening. Maybe it is that, speaking about actors and actresses, if you really wanted a part and you thought it meant the world, and maybe you got really close and you didn't get it, right? So what does that do for that little voice in the back saying that, are you not good enough? What does it mean? But that's when you have to turn back and tune back into that voice that knows the truth, right? Because all of the negative thoughts are not, it's not the truth. It's not the light that's inside of you. It's not the truth. So you just have to lean that way. And what that does is literally puts your focus back to where it was, and hopefully causes you to take action that is in alignment with that focus. And that will, lead you out of there. And that's really generally speaking, because I know that everybody has their particular instances, but this I think can be across the board for whatever that is.
Wow, that's amazing. So can you share with the audience some of your highlights as you went through the process? What was those moments, like the aha moments and moments of just great joy and breakthroughs? Can you talk about some of those?
Oh, wow. I guess, highlights. I would say, like, when I think about the aspect of acting, and I'm going to go more in the direction of being, someone who is, produced and created her own art, her own work. And I think that some of the highlights, I would say for me, having the vision first, right? And then, so you say you have this picture, you have this vision in your head, and then really planning carefully to make sure that what you have in your head, or that vision, the steps that you take towards that it lines up as much as possible. So for me, that really stands out when I think about the overall aspect of the work, because it's like having a roadmap, to where you want to go, because you have to have that, because you have to have that direction. You're bound to have pitfalls. I mean, it's going to happen. But if you have that structure, then you can manage, your way around those things that you did not foresee that are bound to happen. I remember in particular, let's just say, like we're talking about Love Always Eartha, and I had to wear many hats. So what I wanted most to do is to be able to trust my entire crew with this baby that I created, that I wrote, that I got all the details for. And so I made sure, all the locations were set. I got all of the wardrobe together, because it's a period piece. I made sure that everything, visually that I wanted to come across, what that looked like. And then I got all the people in place to know, are you able to do this? Are you able to carry this out? So that I could step back and become Eartha Kitt, right? Now it looks great on paper, and everything is like, we're ready to go. And something personally that happened is, let's say, so so the scene where you see that Eartha has been abused by this teenager, right? You remember seeing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we had to, we went. I found that location. It was actually upstate, and it was 7 o'clock, I think, in the morning. That we had to, all get to meet up and head there for this particular shot. And the day before, or the night before, I double checked with everybody. Okay, this is where we're meeting. And that actor that was supposed to play that part said, oh, can I, something about, he had to do something for a family member. Is there another time or something like that? And I was just like, wait, we're not, this is it. What do you, And so this is one of those times when you go, you just want to fall apart, right? You want to say, oh no, I didn't do this right. How could I not see that how could I not foresee this? But you have to, at this point, have a laser focus of, this is a vision. This is what at least is supposed to happen. How can I get it as close to that as possible? And so I reached out to my director, and with the Mariska Phillips, who Mariska Phillips directed so she is wonderful. First of all, wonderful actress herself. and director and an acting coach. So I knew that she would have extensive actors that she could reach out to, and I let her know what happened, and she was like, what? So she gave me this was in the wee hours of the morning, I would say 11 into 12, 1 that we're working on this. And I think it was somewhere around between 1 and 2 in the morning. She had sent me actors that I could pick from, and I went immediately to the guy who you see in the movie. I looked at him and I said, what about him? She reached out to him. And oh my goodness, Terra. Wow. I could not have asked for a better actor to play that role. And I didn't even know that he was perfect for that role. But the way that he stepped in, he committed, he, dropped. He had no time to research this character, but he worked with Mariska like along the way, dropped into that character. And what came through was it's still like one of my favorite moments in the movie. So highlights, getting back to the question, that's all, it's all there just in that example, because it's important to know that the planning was there. And it's important to know that the vision is most important, and that no matter what, you can find your way back with that keeping focus on that strong direction that you have, that picture that you have. So
that's really, I tell you, I love stories like this, Deirdre, because a lot of people think, once they see the film, that everything was just this euphoric experience, nothing goes wrong.
There's always something. Don't give up. It's the main thing.
That's powerful. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to take a few minute break, play some more commercials. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan O'Shea, Executive Director for Maureen's Haven Homeless Outreach. It is our mission to support the homeless in our community. We provide an emergency winter shelter program, a day center, and support services to help the homeless in our community. With your help, we can continue to provide services so critically needed to the homeless in our community. Please visit www.maureen'shaven.org or call us at 631-727-683.
I am Madame Francois, and I'm introducing my new luxury skincare brand that's available to you at an attainable price. Discover my beauty secrets, luxurious, effective ingredients with proven results and a price tag that doesn't break the bank. Come indulge with me at lesmadamefrancois.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rudy Radio, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. I am Terra Renee from the African American Women in Cinema Organization, and this is Talk with Terra. Our guest is the phenomenal Deidra Mcdowell, and she's just been blowing us away with her incredible journey in the entertainment industry. And we were just talking about, before we went to break, some of her highlights, and she shared with us something very incredible. Deirdre, I would like to ask you, what would you give as words of inspiration to those who are following in your footsteps and who are inspiring to be not only talent, but also a producer or a filmmaker?
I would definitely, undoubtedly say right away, really stay true to yourself. Know why you want what you want. Know your why. And listen to that truth that's inside of you, right? And never stop. Just don't stop. That's one of the most important things that I could communicate if I could be helpful in any way. Because no matter the pitfalls, no matter the distractions or the circumstances or whatever, if you have this desire and you have this dream and you have this vision, if you don't stop, you will get there. And that's so important to, again, we started the discussion this way, and it's interesting that we're ending back this way, where I feel that it can apply to many areas of life. But, and specifically speaking about filmmaking and this entire art form, no matter what aspect or what role you see for yourself, don't stop, right? See it through to the end is what I really want to communicate. There's so many times that people, for whatever reason, whatever pitfall they're experiencing, it could be just a block or a personal circumstance, and then it kind of stops, and then the days that you've stopped end up expanding. Just get back into it, get back on the horse, and you will get there. And it's so rewarding for you to see your work, your creative self out there. So just please don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. That's it.
That is awesome. And you hit on such a very important note, because I believe, and certainly what we had talked right at the beginning of this, that you're born with it. And because you're born with this specific talent, that means you've been earmarked to express it in your time and in this realm. And you have to, it's worth the fight for that expression to happen, because there's so many people who are counting on that. I mean, one of your I would dare to say icons, Eartha Kitt. Had she shut down, what would that have done? Amazing. And are there any others, public figures, or they don't even have to be public figures, that really inspired you?
Oh my God, so many. Oh my God. Angela Bassett, absolutely love it. Her energy and the commitment to roles that she delivers. When I saw her work, Terra, I knew that I was just like, that's the level that I want to get to, Felicia Rashad.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Oh my. Gosh, it excites me to, when you ask me that question, because I'm excited that there's so many icons that I can look up to. Viola Davis, of course.
Yes.
It's just Jeffrey Wright.
He's power. Yes, he's a power.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that we are out there and that we're in this time because of people that set the path, set the pathway for us.
Yes, that is so true. Just a quick note, I loved all those examples you have, stated, and yes, I concur. And Jeffrey Wright, what drew me to him was a HBO film that was done on the whole boycott of the buses that, just really catapult that entire, over a year. People didn't realize that the bus boycott was over a year after Rosa Parks got arrested. And so when it was noted that Jeffrey Wright was playing Dr. King, and it drew a question mark. I said, really? Because Dr. King is a powerful figure, So, but within, I say 5 to 10 minutes of watching the film, I completely forgot it was Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah.
He has so captured the spirit of Dr. King in that moment. I was taken away. So I hear your list is phenomenal and is certainly on point. I can definitely embrace that.
Oh, yeah.
Deirdre, I wanted to, since now we're in the age of social media and a lot of likes, I guess, get looked at, would you like to share some of your social media handles for our audience so they can follow your work? and what you do?
Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Well, I'm on Instagram at my Instagram is my full name, which is Deidra.Mcdowell at Deidra.Mcdowell, and I'll spell that for you. It's DIERDRA.MCDOWELL. And also for the One Woman Show, I have an Instagram handle, which is at Down to Eartha Show. That's the name of the show, Down to Eartha. Get down to Eartha. Let's see. I can be found on Facebook under Deidra Mcdowell as Eartha Kit. And let's see. Also, Twitter, which is I'm new to, so forgive me. But
it's okay.
Down to Eartha Show also on Twitter.
Oh wow, that is awesome. You know, as we are continue to evolve, you know, during these unprecedented times, I know you gave, you know, what inspired you, and certainly, you know, you gave a wonderful word on those who are following behind you, never to give up, and that is so important. Is there any other type of information that you can give just to young people overall that you would like to leave them with?
Yeah, I definitely encourage you to become as knowledgeable as you can.
That's good.
Good. Study and study your craft, take classes. That's those were literally the first steps. I knew in my heart I wanted to do this, but then I just went to see who can teach me to be the best at what I want to do. So find your way there. It's very important to be knowledgeable. Knowledge really is power.
Yeah.
The more you know, the better. And I strongly encourage that.
That is good. And you're right on that. I remember one time, this is a funny story, Deirdre.
Yeah.
So Phyllis Hyman, who was I loved her, one of my favorite singers.
Her, yeah.
And she was doing a local talk show called Talk to Me. It was in Philadelphia because that's where she was staying at the time. And this was the funny part. So I walked in because I was an audience member, and one of the show production assistants thought I was Phyllis Hyman.
Oh, yes, I could see that though.
Like, what?
No, get ready to sing. Can you sing?
I was like, what are you talking about? I went to go stand in line, and she immediately came to me to escort me to the back. I said, wait a minute, I'm not Phyllis Hyman. But I brought that up because when I finally had to convince her I wasn't her, she finally believed me. And then the show got started, and there was a gentleman that she had on stage because she was talking about women in music. And so she had a producer who had produced a lot of women records. And so one of the questions was, what would you say to the audience if they're interested in getting into the music industry? And one of the things he said that always stood with me was, get in the ballpark. Whether it is going to an event, whether it's, meeting someone. Now we can follow someone's Facebook or whatever and join some chats, some Zooms, But he said, get in that environment. Yeah. And I would like to couple with what you said about the education with getting in the environment, because I think that with the education and being in the environment, it can take you further. And it will certainly prepare you for the instant opportunities that can pop up. I think Oprah called it, she called it luck, where she says when you're prepared, opportunity,
yes,
and shows up and you are in a position to take advantage of that opportunity.
Uh,
So yeah, I agree with you.
Amen to that. I agree wholeheartedly. That is amazing. Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely, Terra.
Yeah. And it's important to listen to people like yourself who have been through, because the beauty of what, folks like yourself share to our audience is that you share these golden insights that a lot of the times, certainly when I got started in the industry, a lot of folks it appears that they were afraid to share. And I don't know why, because I guess they had to look a certain way, or they had to portray the industry a certain way. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Why did you, we can't get into their minds, but you know what I'm, saying here as it relates to, they didn't share that part. And I always wondered why.
Yeah, I think, first, I'm very aware of that. I think, first of all, it could have a lot to do with, this feeling of lack, like there's not enough.
I got it.
And that mindset, if you just get rid of that, you'll realize that what's for you is for you. There's an abundance of roles and opportunities for everyone. But I think it has something to do with that. It's just a mindset of lack. You know what I mean? Like if you're insecure, I hate to say it like that, but that's kind of what it is. If you're insecure and you feel like if I share this with you, you could take away this opportunity from me. And, it's just, it's sad, but that's the way that I think it is. It's so much better if you can really open your heart, and you yourself, I think, would be more rewarded. And when I mean you, of course, I mean these people who don't want to share. I feel like it can be a much more rewarding and fulfilling experience to open that heart and open. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I do.
Yeah,
that's powerful. Well, Miss Deirdre, I don't know where the time went, but you're telling me that we have to go.
No way.
Thank you so much. Certainly for being our wonderful, phenomenal guest, as powerful as you are. To our audience, thank you for listening to Talk with Terra. I am Terra Renee from the African American Women in Cinema Organization. You can follow us or visit us online at aawic.org. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook at AAWIC. Talk with Terra is made possible by Rude Rangers Entertainment. Our creative director is Rudy J. Breedy. Please don't forget to like and share this episode with as many people as possible. We sincerely appreciate you joining us today and wish you continued peace, blessings, and prosperity. See you on the next episode. God bless.